Where are all my friends? Sydney Hamm. I see my friend. We're reunited.
Hello, Fran.
Hey.
Podcasts are auditory mediums, so people can't see me grinning from ear to ear like a freaking Cheshire cat.
Unless you subscribe and view on YouTube.
Subscribe and view on YouTube, kids.
Tiana, maybe some air horns to start it off. I don't know.
Pew, pew, pew. Otherwise, I'll stand in. I got you. I'm ready.
Well, I love and miss our banter a lot. And for a listener that doesn't know, we met about a month ago, and we hosted panels at Porsche at South by Southwest.
We did.
And damn it, that was fun.
Holy cow. Was that a time and a half?
It was so
a hoot and a half.
It was.
All of it.
And it was fun because both of us didn't know each other at all. And we were both really excited to do it. I mean, like for me, like you heard my ramble of like, I can't believe it because I came to South by with music and my favorite brand is Porsche and we're hosting this.
No, but it was like the greatest, most epic, most wonderful energy to come into because like for people who don't know me, because why would they? These wonderful, wonderful Andrew fans. Hi, my name is Sydney. I'm an actor, print and
I
runway
actually
model.
do that. I say for anybody who doesn't know you, start off by saying what you do. Funny. So you're a natural.
That's so funny. I just like come into a space automatically feeling like I have to explain my presence or
normally,
justify why I'm here.
Yeah. Well, normally it goes like a little bit of banter and then I'm like, all right, so to start things off, tell us who you are and what you do briefly. And you just did it.
Well, gosh, I mean, someone give us a show because we work well together in my humble opinion. Yeah, no. So I am just an all around creative. I do the acting thing on TV and film. You also can find me in a couple commercials here and there. I do print and runway modeling. I'm represented globally for that. And then I am also a live show host, which is why I got brought onto the team, why I got to work with you. And I've been doing this for about 10 years.
Is it 10
professionally?
years now?
Yeah, we're like at 9-ish or so. And you know, they say that you're an overnight sensation if you've been doing this for 10 years and then suddenly you're a household name. So look out for me in a year, kids.
Actually though, the fucked up part is from the outside looking in, I would anticipate that you legit will be like on in about a year.
I mean, God bless you for that. Can I record that? And we are recording that.
Yeah.
We're literally recording it. I'm gonna send that as a soundbite to all of the casting directors and say, Andrew said it. Andrew said
May
it.
2022.
I'm letting y'all know. May 2023, we will have failed you if that's not the case.
Well, no, so like that's why I wanted to have you on the podcast is like, yeah, we had so much fun together hosting that at South by and like obviously had a vibe and a rapport and just a certain dynamic and people were like, how long have you guys been doing stuff together? And we're like, we met a day ago.
I met you on the phone.
Yeah.
I met you on the phone because we had a mutual friend, my friend.
SJ.
Who is SJ.
Yeah.
He is amazing. SJ Park, what's up?
Shout out.
But we went to college together.
Yeah.
So he's the one who threw my name in the hat because he knows what I do. He was like, oh, don't you worry. The whole team is amazing.
The rest
You'll
is history.
dig Andrew. It'll be great. And I was coming in from another project where I had zero sleep and I was really nervous because I wanted to do a good job for SJ. I wanted to do a good job for Porsche and make sure that I wasn't like failing race service because this was my first live hosting gig in front of an audience.
Yeah.
In front of a live audience.
That was crazy, huh?
Yeah, that was wild.
Well, wait, but before we, because I do want to talk about that, but my point to why I wanted to have you on the show was,
oh, please, yes.
I legitimately feel it. Like when I met you and when I heard what you were doing, when I saw it, it really clicked of like, holy fuck, like you do this. And the whole point of this podcast is like the how I built this of creative careers. And like, my God, is that you? And you do so many things, but you were the star of a Lifetime movie. And it came out how many months before we did that?
It came out, we were figuring out it was like March 11th or something that we were working together.
Yep.
It came out just shy of a month prior. So like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Probably.
So
3 weeks before I met you.
This to me, like outside looking in, like not knowing, and I want to hear about the 9 years leading up to it, but like that's that thing of like, oh yeah, like she's about to be an actress that like that's the proving ground of like, cool, like you were the feature in this movie and you're getting all these commercials nonstop. And on the podcast, admittedly, I have a lot more friends probably coming from the music world. So, but like that doesn't, I'm so equally intrigued in other industries. And that's why like I feel like I have so many questions for you, but like that's so fucking cool for me to see. And I legitimately, like, I'm not just saying it to be like, oh yeah, cool, look out in a year. Like, it's like, no, like that makes about sense. Like if you keep doing exactly what you're doing.
I mean, I appreciate it. You're like going to have me blush in front of company for those who do subscribe. It means a lot because like, even having known you for the short time that I have, like when we met, and that was like my big roundabout way of saying like, when we met and people were sitting there thinking that, you know, we had been friends for a long time, that we have this working relationship, or that like we come as a duo, even people were like, how can we book you two together? Who's your agent together? And that is due in no small part to you and the fact that you are so good at what you do, your natural curiosity for every part of the industry and things that have nothing to do with it. And then the way that you retain information and you are so naturally enthusiastic about it. Like that was what I was starting to say was, you know, like, yes, I've had this experience and I've worked really hard to try to make sure that, you know, my resume is quite diverse so that I can adapt to these different situations. But with all of these things going on in my mind that you had no idea about, you were so welcoming on the phone. Like I was literally about to get on a plane. I was leaving like this crazy situation, which was an amazing project, just in case anybody ever listens to it or figures out the timeline of this. It was amazing. It was just like, everything about this life is very last minute and you have no idea what's happening from one moment to the next.
Yeah.
And so then to come in and be so welcomed by you, you know, and it's just very clear that you know what the heck you're talking about.
Well, I will take that compliment, and hopefully that can also say that I have early intuitions on people that are about to come up. There's certainly been a couple I told you so moments on the podcast already. Although again, I already feel like you're popping.
Thank you.
So, as much as we probably could just gas each other up and be like, no, you're cool, you're cool. Like, I legitimately,
and I will for the next 2 hours. Y'all ready to buckle in? Let's go.
I legit though, like as much as we got to spend time together, I didn't really get to learn your come up story. And that's one of my favorite things to do on this podcast is to learn like, cool, this person that has this talent that's been working on it for so long that now is having success. Where did that come from? And how did you find that initial passion? Because hopefully the idea is people anywhere, any point in their career can relate to that and find inspiration in it. And we can encourage more and more people to do the shit they actually love. So
to actually be happy and not, you know,
that's kind of, I don't know.
Pretend. I don't know. Yeah, it might be the thing. You know, what's so neat and also really nerve-wracking is that there's like no one way to do this work. I knew from the time I was probably 3 years old, my mother is one of the finest actors I've ever come across. And I don't say that with any kind of, I can genuinely be very objective about that. My parents met because they were singers and they had the same managers or management.
Oh, so this runs in your family.
It runs in the family. Like art is very valued in my household. Music is very real. Like we all have a very visceral response. There's music going all the time. Someone is singing all the time. Like my sisters and I sing together. My mom taught us to, harmonize together and everything. So like we'll perform together.
Oh,
please don't ever ask me to sing solo though, because like my stage fright is off the charts with that one. But like, one sister is like destined for Broadway. The other loves to do commercials if it's all three of us. And then my love is acting for it. Let me just like slap the microphone because I talk with my hands too much.
I hit it much. That was another thing when I first started. Like it would be and I think it would make such a big noise. And it's like just like a tiny little ding.
It's a tiny little ding. Yeah. Okay. Just in case. Sorry, friends. No, but yeah, so like it kind of was just always a thing for us. And the reason why I've just never deviated from, I've never strayed from the path. I saw my parents sing at our cousin's wedding.
Yeah. Whoa.
And I was watching my mom and I went, I want to do that. I want to do what mommy does. I want to do what mom and dad do.
How old were you?
And I was 3. No,
wow. Okay, so like
3,
like
4
as little of a kid as you can of like
really
making your own memories and being like, I love this.
Yeah.
Like it was early.
My first memory is my sister and I are born on the same day, 3 years apart.
Cool.
Yeah. My first memory is about her. And then my second is I want to do what mommy does. Like,
wow.
And it was the performance thing. And it's literally always been that. And, you know, I mean, I went through different phases of like, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a veterinarian. I was like designing wedding dresses for a second because, you know, cool. TLC Say Yes to the Dress is my life in the summer.
Never seen that show in my life.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Seems cool.
Guilty pleasure. Wedding dresses all day, every day. Staple of the summer. But still, it was always a performance thing. I actually went to a high school in the Inland Empire, Rancho Cucamonga High School. What's up? They had the most incredible performing arts program for both theater and choir.
Cool.
And so I was doing that, and they actually had us participating in these festivals, these statewide competitions. And I started placing. I was training with my mom through it.
Whoa.
Yeah. And so we were doing like Shakespeare festivals. We were doing, like, I don't know, regular schmegler, whatever, where it's contemporary or it's this or it's that. And so I started doing the monologues because I liked working alone.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And so it was like, that was the thing. And then one thing led to another. I ended up going to Cal State Long Beach, and one of my judges worked for the competitions growing up was a professor. I don't know if you know the show Phil the Future. Disney Channel. Yeah. The dad, Craig Anton, was, I walked in the room to do the competition thing, like to do one of the rounds. And I was like, Phil of the future.
Yeah.
I was like freaking out, before I have to do this thing. And so I asked him for a picture, and I still have it with my hideous bangs, and it was raining outside. So my hair is starting to curl because I have a natural fro. And then years later, he ends up being my mentor through college.
Wow. Yeah. Have you showed him the photo? Be like, haha.
I did.
Yeah.
I did. I was like, I'm sorry to do this and expose myself, but like this is, and he goes, I remember that.
Cool.
He didn't like put it together before because naturally he sees so many people. But
I love though that you did show him that, because I think it's so cool to show the people that have been like early mentors or inspirations, or like those moments where you're like, look, it's full circle. Like,
yes,
I hate it when those people are too cool and shitty.
Yeah,
but that's very rare, to be honest. Like, it's rad when they're like, oh, fuck yeah.
I've just been quite lucky because, you know, I've definitely dealt with a lot of different personalities that were not, you know, ideal for cultivating self-confidence, fostering the passion.
I can only imagine in this
I've
industry.
been so lucky to have had support in my family, and then come across really magnificent people in this industry specifically. And so like, anyway, that was a really long way of, I did. I was in the theater program for a year. My mentor was my intro to theater teacher, because I hadn't declared my major or anything yet. And I was still trying to figure that out. I ended up leaving the program because I wanted to have, half my family works in medicine, half of them are in business. And so I wanted something that was versatile so that I could do that, because I am genuinely passionate about those things. I'm a por qué no los dos, or why not all the things? So like, so when I was in my intro to theater class, my teacher was Craig Anton. And I did that on purpose. I knew I wanted him. I knew he worked there.
Oh,
and
cool.
so I sought him out. There was one assignment, because it was just like a filler class for most people with credits. There was one assignment where, we all wrote out, a monologue about a memory, and we had to switch and perform someone else's. And so I was like, this is my time. This is my moment. We're going to show him that I'm serious about this. After that, I did my thing. After that, he pulled me aside after class, and he was like, I'm teaching a 400 something class next semester. Mind you, I was 17. I was a freshman and I was really scared. And he was like, you're going to have to audition for it, like with the performance majors. If you get approved by the department heads to be in the class, like it's an intro to film class. So I ended up being in a class with all juniors and seniors because I got in.
Whoa,
and
cool.
So I learned that second semester of my freshman year. And right after that, I got discovered by my current agent.
Whoa.
So I couldn't do both because I was a full-time student. I was working, and auditioning ends up being a full-time gig as well.
I would imagine.
So to then try to be a full-time theater kid, because there's so much with performances, and you have to do the crew stuff, and you have to learn all this, everything. And like, there's so much extracurricular that's involved. It's actually kind of difficult to be a theater major, or it's more difficult than you would think. My mentor said, you're going to learn on the job. So go ahead and just go out there.
Damn,
and do
crazy.
It. Yeah.
So you left early
so
to
I
just
left.
Go do your thing.
I had 1 year. I had my first semester of intro to theater. I had my second semester of acting for the camera with Craig Anton, and it was magnificent. And then the rest of it has just been me and my mom since I was little. Because she actually did study. She did study. So like all these different techniques and everything, like she's taught me. I just like don't really know the names. Like I believe Meisner. Yeah. Meisner.
I'm not gonna be the one.
If there are a bunch of theater kids in the like listening at any point, they're gonna be like, she's an embarrassment.
If you're a theater kid listening to this right now, please let me know.
We got to write in.
I highly doubt it. I think you could say anything on that and everyone be like, sounds cool.
It's so funny. But yeah, I mean, and I know like I talk far too much. Like I get bogged down in details, but the thing is you never know what detail might like spark something for somebody. So that's like why I always end up just sharing everything.
No, I love it. But what I'm hearing is like you took maybe a more traditional path of formal education of like, cool, at a very young age, you're like, yeah, this is what I want to do. I'm going to go study it. You went specifically to a school, like you're pretty strategic about it.
Yeah.
And then plot twist, you kind of get this early chance to be like, all right, fuck it. Like not necessarily drop out, but like,
oh yeah, no.
I guess
like
maybe it is. Yeah.
I withdrew from the theater aspect of it. I ended up getting a degree in human development. I'm a social scientist. I'm a behavioralist. Like I can work in a lab. I can work in a school. Like,
oh, holy shit. So
I didn't drop out of school at all. No.
You withdrew from that.
Theater.
Did it IRL, just doing gigs and still got like a proper degree.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Because that's why my mentor told me like, it might be better if you don't do the theater degree because you are not planning to leave school.
Dang.
Or you're not. I was a double major at the time as well. I was pre-med psychology.
Yeah.
And then I was going to do theater. And the thing was like, I wasn't formally declared or anything like that, but I was doing the course load to prepare.
Yeah.
And so I stayed long enough to prove to myself that I could do it, get the grades I wanted.
Yeah.
But I also was like losing my hair and not happy.
Yeah. Holy
and so, because I think like, human development is 4 different disciplines. It's psychology, anthropology, sociology, and biology. All the ologies.
Sure.
Yeah, but it's a just much broader perspective of humanity. It just gave me more freedom to, decide that if/when this performance thing is no longer for me, I can go do so many more things than if I just had my specific psychology going on to psychiatry degree.
Yeah. Damn. What a wildly interesting foundation that you built. I don't think I've talked to anybody that knew that they wanted to do the thing, studied the thing, had success at the thing, had somebody tell them not to continue formally studying the thing and to go out and do it, but then still get a proper degree in formal education. Because then to carry on in your story, you didn't go into any of those industries that you graduated school from, right? Your career in acting and everything else you were doing picked up enough where that just was your thing, right?
Well, so actually, another plot twist. Here we go.
I love this.
So part of the degree I had to intern somewhere. And then I found this nonprofit called Ability First. I'd already been connected to them through a few organizations I was involved with. It's like a center for, it's a center for adults and children with special needs. So they were very important to me. They still are. I'm still in touch with everyone at that center. And then I became a lifeguard too. I got my cert.
No shit.
Yeah, because we had a warm water pool. So I was doing warm water aquatic therapy with those clients, but then also with the senior citizens of the community.
Wait,
so like, My best friends are 80 years old.
But wait, isn't your feature film you're a swim instructor?
And you better believe that I said that in the audition, because they were like, please note if you were a competitive swimmer in high school or college and blah, blah, blah. And so I straight up said, I never did competitive swim. Please don't ever ask me to do competitive swim. I will not look athletic enough. But I am deep and shallow water certified and have been for the past 3 years and blah, blah, blah. Like,
dang.
And so I did. It was so funny because like that absolutely came into play while we were filming and everything. But yeah, so when I had graduated, I graduated from Cal State. I had already been doing the internship for, 2 months or something. At the end of the internship, they offered me the job and it was very flexible because it's a nonprofit. The work is hard. The turnover is very high. I ended up being there for, 2017 to 2021.
Oh, wow.
4 years.
Wow.
Yeah. But the thing was that like, if we put all together the time that I was physically on site, it was probably less than that because they were letting me leave or call off for auditions. There was one point where I had submitted for to be considered for a photo shoot in Chicago the night before. And then the next day I walk into work. I sat down. I was there for 10 minutes and then my phone starts going off because I found out I got the job and I had to be on a flight 3 hours later. So
damn.
And I had to drive an hour away to get to the airport that had the flight leaving at the, in order to get me there in time. So they worked with me 110% and like
that's interesting.
Yeah, like really poured a lot into me. And that's the thing is like I stayed a lot longer at a place that, it's not that they don't have mobility by any means. It is this is not an ad for Ability First, but it should be. It was an incredible group of people. They really believed in me as an individual, knowing what I wanted to do the entire time. But definitely, it would be considered, the position I held is considered a stepping stone.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what I was thinking about as you were saying it is, since then, you haven't worked like a formal job, right? No. Like now this is your thing.
Yeah.
But like that has to be so challenging for anyone trying to get into acting and film because
you got to make ends meet.
You're not paying your bills off of random auditions or being an extra.
Ever.
So like, you have to have that stability, but you have to have something that's understanding enough to be like, hey, I need to leave in an hour because this just happened.
Well, and that's the thing is like, it's so unheard of. There is no one in their right mind would let me just run off on I had a full shift, like 8-hour shift.
Yeah. And they're like, yep.
Get out of here.
Do you think though?
I mean, I'm sure they weren't happy, but they were like,
they made it work.
We said it. We said we'd do it. So here we go.
Do you think though, like I'm thinking kind of like bigger picture of like anybody listening to this or somebody that is in a similar industry, is that a common theme that you've noticed amongst your peers of like, everybody has to find that job that gets it as your starting point?
From what I hear. So here's the thing is like being a good employee is very important to me because I have such hard workers in my family. And then also just being considerate of other people's time, promising I'm going to be somewhere and then bailing is just like, it physically harms my being and my soul. And so
it's such a point of respect.
It's just, and it's very deeply ingrained in, the person that I've become because of what I've been taught. The common theme is that you get fired everywhere. That's what I've heard. It's like you have to be ready to be fired and just keep going for that other waiter or waitress job. Keep going for that other temp situation. And like, because your eye is on the prize and it's tunnel vision and it's this, that, and the other. And I'm just not built for that.
Wow. So like peers or coaches or professionals in the industry that are telling people who are trying to make it, they're just like, yeah, like go get that job, be ready to get fired, bail when you have to take an audition.
More or less. Like, it might not be the same for everyone, and far be it for me to ever insinuate that I'm the end all be all here. But from the friends that I speak with all the time, and mind you, I have so many colleagues and friends on set who work as much as or more than I do. I've been very lucky because I have had a weekly hosting gig to count on.
Cool.
And my agent negotiated a rate that made it livable for me. And I literally landed it the day before we went into that national lockdown.
Holy crap.
And they decided I had like a month or two of uncertainty. But I moved back home with my parents because like it's a pandemic. No one's lived through this before. So I wasn't panicking because I was like, no one knows what's happening. Like I'm not alone here. I still had my day job, but I told them I can't come back right now because everyone in my family is immunocompromised, this, that, and the other. So, and they understood that. Like no one can argue with that. And they weren't trying to. So I just like took a second, and then probably like 2 weeks into it, that's when the company that I host for called and said, we want to take this weekly. Do you? Or like we want to do another one. And then it was a month total where they were like, we're going to be weekly.
Wait, can you say what it is? Do I know?
Oh yeah. I work for Shein and Romwe currently. It's a global fashion brand. And
cool.
It's like
that's the digital hosting
thing. So it literally and even when it was live, we had one live show.
Yeah.
I was in a studio broadcasting. I can't see the audience because it's live streaming on their app.
Whoa. So that's why it was so different when we did Porsche, and there's just like people there and they laugh when you tell a joke and you're like, oh.
And so, but the entire time that I've been a full-time creative, I've been in the pandemic. I've been in lockdown.
Whoa.
So
that's so nuts.
Yeah. And so that's why like for me, it was such a weird, unique way of kind of coming into my full-time creative mode. That was my goal, right?
Yeah.
Like I am very much the person of like, I need a plan, a skeleton of a plan. If we deviate from the plan, if the plan shifts and changes and suddenly it doesn't look like my plan anymore, but it's a plan.
Yeah.
I know a couple of steps that are coming.
Yep.
I'm chill. I'm good.
God, do I relate? Yes.
Yeah. And so like, it's funny because like, I'm a person who like, I need control. Yeah. I need to know what's coming. Yeah. But also like you have to
just like organization, right? Like some amount of prediction or like
exactly
with how much you respect people's time and how like detail oriented you are, it's got to be a wild balance to have a career that has so much uncertainty.
God, yes.
Right?
And the anxiety. For those listening, my whole body just seized up. It's fine.
Like, yeah.
And that's the thing is like, I don't think, I mean, I shudder to think, I don't know that I would still be doing this if my path was more quote unquote mainstream. Like if I had to be constantly looking for a new job or constantly looking for, constantly getting fired and then wondering like if I have to have that, have a new boss call the old boss and they're like, well, she's auditioning all the time and she's really unprepared and really this and really that. Like it would weigh on me, but then also knowing that I have a string of people behind me who like in my mind I let down in a sense, like that would just have undone me and I probably would have had to do something else. But
that's such an interesting grind to get to where you're at now because like really like the amount of preparation and education and then uncertainty and having to balance and provide for yourself while trying to get the initial roles, like it's something that I mean, I never had the deep desire to act or anything like that, but it's something where I've always from the outside looking in being like, that's got to be a wildly hard industry to get in. And as you're explaining it, I'm like, yeah, sounds just about as hard as I thought. Yeah.
And it's funny because you're one of relatively few people who would say that was their perspective before talking in this amount of detail or like getting into this much depth, because I think that this life it's associated with a lot of glam. Yeah. Literally, I have glam squads. Yeah. I don't pay for them. Yeah. I show up and they tell me where to look and like, where's my camera? Where's my eyeline? And someone is making me look less tired than I am. But like it's associated with, travel and exotic locations. And like we get to go to award shows and parties and this, that, and the other. And like really what's become a big part of my personality is being tired.
God.
And that's not to say that I am not absolutely the most grateful human being on the planet. You'll find
totally. It'll give you the energy to keep going in the most tiring times.
Because this is what I love more than anything. And I was telling somebody else too, if this is something you want to do, but it's not your absolute number one end all be all joy and passion, don't do it.
Really?
Not because, you won't make the cut and blah, 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 and like this, that, and the other that I've had people say to me. time and time again. It's literally because it's so hard, it's so time consuming, it's so uncertain, and your life is not your own. Your schedule is not your own.
So if you don't have that love for
if you don't absolutely eat, sleep, and breathe this, you'll be so miserable, you know, like.
However, on the flip side, I would imagine if you do eat, sleep, and breathe it, it's all worth it. And those little victories make everything worth it.
Everything. Because you know what, at the end of the day, like, if I sit on it too much, if I like sit and think about it, or like I'm talking to my mom, because this was her dream too. So she, like, from day one, when I said, I want to do this and I want to do this for real. And like, she knew the work ethic that she instilled in me. But if I can, like, I'm proud of what I have been able to do, never forgetting the amount of support that I have been given.
Yeah.
And that I am so lucky to that end.
Yeah.
But I do think that, you know, I am a focused person, and I'm honest with myself about my capabilities and my limits in a given moment. You know what I mean? And so with all that, like, my mom was always like, okay, I'm going to do everything I can do to put you in that position. And the second you're tired of it, we're done. And so it is nice to like sit and think like, I have wanted to be in the movies since I was 3. And it was like, I would see People magazine, like at the grocery store, and they have the, you know, best dressed and this, that, and the other. And I was like, when it's my turn, I'm going to wear this. And when it's my turn, and not if.
Yeah.
But like,
when?
I'm like,
not if,
6
when.
years old, 9 years old. And I'm like, oh, that's what I'm going to wear. I'm going to wear one with that neckline. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. Like, this is, you know, I've been practicing my signature. Like, I'm 26. I still, like, my boyfriend was like, oh, let me see it then. And I was like, I got you.
Okay.
Like,
Sharpie,
so,
please.
To be able to say that not only have I gotten to do like national and international commercials, I wanted to be represented as a model. And now I have representation in LA, New York, London, and Hong Kong. I starred in my first movie. I had never been on a film set ever in my life, because it's that vicious cycle of like, they only cast people who have had experience, but you can't get experience if you've never been cast, and like all of that. It's so hard to break in. So to have somebody take a chance on me, this team from that Lifetime movie, and like the director, Doug Campbell, called me personally, and he said, you're our Sabrina, you're our, you know, and I just want you to know that it doesn't happen. So I was like, he wants me to feel supported with this phone call. And I was like, there are a lot of people I could possibly let down here. But I've instantly gotten to do this. Yeah. And nobody can take that from me, you know? So like, even if it went away tomorrow, I'd be real sad. But like,
you know what I love?
I did it.
What I'm hearing here, and what I love so much, is I don't view you as any type of like braggadocious person.
Oh, thank you.
This is what I want in the podcast. Like, I want somebody to be like, it's fucking hard, and this is everything and everything. But I love that you're aware of that. You're appreciative of all the people that have supported you. You're aware of all the little moments and lucky breaks and things. But then you're also like, fuck yeah, I got to do it. And you're not over here saying that you're the world's most famous person and all that. Like, it's clearly the beginning of the grind. But I genuinely feel that like, oh my God, you genuinely want this, right? Like, you know, you've been working at it for so long, and now you're starting to feel these little things, and you're like, this is fucking sick, and I appreciate it so much because it's here. Yeah. So then to get in the weeds for it, because I love this, right? Like, I love this moment. What do you think now, like in this moment of 2022, where it's starting to go and you don't have to work the day job anymore, and you have your bits of hosting and your commercials, and like films are coming in. What do you think? Was there a turning point moment that something changed? Was there something that you can go back to and specifically put your finger on? Or was it legitimately just a culmination or combination of all of this work leading to this?
I think it's both. I think it was, so in terms of a culmination, it was my agents finding me and being willing to take a chance on me. Okay. I have to give
so getting good agents, huge piece. Okay.
Huge. The Polygon Group, they're absolutely magnificent. Kareem Mohammed, the kindest human being on the planet. Eric Davies. Oh my gosh. Just in case, like I can't pass up a moment to like thank my people, because they took me on. They took my sisters too. So it's been the same day I was signed, my sisters were signed with me. Cool. And we've been through this together this entire time. And that's something else, is my first job was cast with my sister. Okay. And So I think like that was definitely one of them. Just the fact that like my parents have never, ever, ever tried to force me to do anything else.
So
as long as I got a degree.
Supportive.
Very supportive. And like that's the culmination. And then people taking the chance on me, giving me the shot with the movie.
Yep.
That's huge because that is absolutely what has made me, I think, more legitimate.
Yeah.
In certain people's eyes, like casting and production and all that.
Yeah.
Because now I have the footage that I had to fight for.
Real. And you have the experience on the sets. You know what it's like. You know how to interact with people. You know how to show up on your mark and say your line.
And I knew how to do that before I got there. But
then you did the thing. You
somebody
to
it. You have to have somebody give you the chance to show that you can do it. And then the turning point was probably getting the hosting job.
Really?
Yeah, I swear to you.
Wow, more so than the movie.
Not necessarily. I think that it took me from this is a dream, this is what I hope for, to I can do this in my own head. And then also like legitimately, you know what I mean? I think you'll find fewer people on the planet who, a general artist thing that I find is that we all have horrific imposter syndrome. Awful.
Bad.
We are our worst critics.
Yeah.
I am vicious to myself. It is awful.
Sucks.
I'm working on it with my therapist.
Right? We're aware.
I'm working on it with my mommy and my sisters and my therapist. Because what it did was it gave me, I'd never hosted a day in my life before this job in 2020. The show was on March 9th, 2020. The first show. I was terrified at the auditions. There was a lot happening. Like there were health issues in my family. Like my brain was just not there.
Yeah, it was hard to be fully present.
The worst audition of my life. Fuck. My mom had driven me because I was so tired and things were so not great for us as a family because of everything happening. She didn't want me to drive alone.
Yeah.
Because I just wasn't.
Yeah, that's
I just
great. That's
wasn't
support.
aware.
That's awesome.
And so she's going over it in the car and everything. And I come out and I just like burst into tears. And I told her like I was the worst. Like I just could not get it together. And she's like, I think you should go back in. Which is unheard. You do not do that.
Yeah.
Do not do that ever in any audit. You don't do that.
Yeah.
But I had seen on the call sheet that I was the last one of the day.
Oh.
So whatever they were doing, which I heard it might have been, I don't know that it was their lunch, but they had a lull in the day.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. And we're driving away and I'm sobbing. And I was like, okay, I have to go back. Okay. And so she turned around. Like we were about to get on the freeway. She was like, if you're going to make the decision, you have to do it now. And so we turned back around and I went in and I said to security, so-and-so and so-and-so, the casting directors. I was like, they said that if I had any questions I could ask. I know that they're on a break right now. Do you think it's okay if I just slide in there? And he was like, yeah, sure. And like, let me go back through. And I told him, I said, I'm so sorry to bother you, waste your time. I never do this. I never ever do this. I was just wondering if I could try one more time just to prove to me that I can do it.
Oh, that just gave me chills.
Like I'm gonna cry.
Holy
just for me. And they were like, oh my gosh, no, you don't have to do that. And they like, casting people never say anything like this, but they were like, we loved your audition. Like you were one of our favorites. And da-da-da. And I was like, okay, these people are either blowing smoke or they're being really nice because clearly a human being is about to break in front of them.
Yeah.
And
human beings.
Yeah. Like I was like barely holding myself. I don't know. This story could be very embarrassing.
No, it's so honest and real. I love it. I'm so in.
I mean, and I wouldn't have done it if my mom hadn't really, she wasn't going to force me, but she was really, and she knows her opinion is so she's very careful with what she says because she knows that it stays with me. But I just was like, she's right. I will regret it for the rest of my life if I don't go back in. And so I did it. They let me do it again. I said, just for me, please. Like, I just have to know for myself. So you did it.
You actually did run it
So
again.
I did it. And I left and I felt okay. And I was like, all right, like one of the worst auditions of my life, if not the worst, but they let me, like, what a kindness that these people let me go do it again. And I'm going to walk away knowing that on my worst day, they let me come back and do it. And I did it. And I know I did it.
The principle of it too.
And
props.
Thank you. And then it was funny because then I was at the day job and I got the call that I got the job and that, we were going to be filming the next week. And it was funny because there is an anchor there's a host. Her name is Erin Lim. She's now Erin Lim Rhodes. She's from E! News. She does the rundown. She's always on the red carpet for the Oscars, the Grammys, the this, the that.
Okay, cool.
Her sense of humor has always struck me as like we might get along because the things she finds funny, I think she's hysterical, and like I crack similar jokes and whatever. And and so I was studying her just like over and over and over, because I was just like, monkey see, monkey do. I've never hosted. I don't know the first thing about the cadence. I don't know the first thing about the banter. I don't know. Yeah. I've done improv.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
But hosting is different.
Yeah.
Because you're not necessarily with another partner who's done improv or who's ready for the camera on this side of the camera. And because we talked about this when we were hosting at South by, to prepare for that horrific audition I had that I had to do over, I had been watching her. And then when I got the job, then I'm learning on the job. I'm doing it, weekly and then like bi-weekly, and like, I'm getting on their Instagram. I'm doing socials. I'm doing, fun things. I end up doing this show called Shein Together Fest. It was a virtual music festival.
Okay.
They had Nick Jonas, Steve Aoki, Maren Morris, Tinashe and Lunai.
Yeah. And you're hosting
Sick. Yes.
Wow.
Sick lineup. My celebrity co-host, this is about a year later. This is just after my 1-year anniversary with this company.
You fucking manifested, didn't you?
My celebrity co-host was Erin Lim. And I was so just like, the full circle thing.
Yeah.
And that's what I really think was the turning point for me, was because I am now able to think on my feet for any level of performance, any type of performance. I am able to adjust to situations in the moment, because like I had done improv through high school and college, but when you step away from it and you're only in auditions now, and like I wasn't really taking classes because I lived really far away from LA and I didn't have time because I was working full time and this, that, and the other. And like, you make it work. People make it work all the time, but it just wasn't financially it wasn't a possibility for me to be in classes and like keep it going that way. Yeah. So my way of like continuing to exercise the muscle was the auditions.
Right.
Just things are so different as a host. They're so different and not necessarily now in my perspective or from my perspective, but at the time I was just like, I have no idea how I'm going to do this. Like, what the and then to be able to see that I could flip this experience and use it as a platform for anything in this business that I wanted to do, because now I have so much footage and I write for the show. I do production on the show.
Wow.
I did a 2-hour special for them for Black History Month where I was interviewing 2 Black designers that they have been uplifting. And like I did. And 2 years ago now, you asked me to do that, I would have been like, what?
How?
I don't know where to begin. And we had, for that music festival, we had over 1 million live viewers. And it was like 1.4, 1.6, I think, maybe something. And then my, the Shein shows will be anywhere between like 200,000 viewers in the live hour to 500,000 in the live hour.
Damn. So kind of what I'm hearing when I zoom out of it is like, the reason that one was so important is because it was really the most experience. Like it was the thing that gave you so much experience in your professional field.
Yeah.
So like the trial by fire, just being thrown into it and really owning it and running it is the thing that ended up paying off.
We're desperately trying. I was like, every single week they're going to fire me. They're going to fire me because I'm horrible at this.
Did that ever go away?
No, not at all. Not at all. Like it stays with me to this day. I mean, the people who hired me were absolutely angels, and they were involved in marketing and they were involved in this because they actually work directly for the brand, and the brand does its own in-house casting for everything. They don't seek out any other casting agencies, as far as I know, or they didn't at the time. But so then they were, multi-hyphenate talents in their own right. And so then I'm learning and trying to absorb, and it's like monkey see, monkey do. And like, so a lot of the things that I know how to do now, like production, and I know how to, my degree was writing and research heavy. And that was something that I was able to flip, and I use it every day.
Oh man.
I use my degree every single day.
Wow. Which is kind of rare to hear, huh?
Which you wouldn't think would be the thing. But yeah. And like, so that's the thing is I think, this was a really long
No, this is it. This is what I love.
But, when you were asking, like, was it a culmination? of experiences, or was it a pivotal moment? I think like just like going back, it makes me emotional, like being back in that, like sitting in that passenger seat and knowing by myself, like not even having talked to anybody, like how low I was mentally, emotionally, physically. Like I was probably at the lowest weight of my life because I was so like tired and depressed and like, am I wasting my life and time here? And having my mom and dad and family and the team just be like, no, your time is coming. Your time is coming. You just can't give up. And then having that absolute worst day, the worst day.
And like,
and they let me do it again.
The literal like movie scene moment of life of like, you're in the car with your mom, like broken down and you're like, I have to go back.
I have to do it again. Yeah.
That's so crazy. Cause now here you are in like that moment, that thing. That's cool. That's encouraging because I think everyone can relate to like just the fucking lows and like not knowing when that break will be.
Yeah.
But I like that your break was earned and not luck, right?
No, I mean, I appreciate that. I think like it is a whole lot of luck because you get to a certain level and everybody's got something. Like everybody is good at something.
Well, you did something about it though, right? Like you didn't leave that one day to fate. You did everything in your power to rectify that. And that's pretty cool.
And that goes back to the control thing where I was like, my entire world, my entire professional life is completely out of my control to a certain extent. Like I'm not the one who says who gets cast in the things that I want to be in.
Yeah.
Right. I can cast other things. And like I've produced films and I've produced a fashion film and I've like done directorial work and I've done this and done that. So like now I also understand the thought process behind it.
Yeah.
But that's another thing is like I try to use whatever I come across and figure out how to best position myself for the next job or the next like
you're
role.
Stacking, you're compounding every experience, everything you're learning is adding to the thing that you're trying to do next, or you're finding the lessons and the things that you can bring over.
Yeah.
That's cool. And I think that probably is natural for you, but maybe you don't realize it. I think again, this is kind of any industry or field is people don't think like that unless they genuinely care. Because you can show up and do the job and be like, all right, yeah, I guess I'll write this script. It's not what I do. And, then that's it. Or you can be like, oh, cool. If I learn how to do this, this means I can do this into this, into this, into this, which is, like kind of one of those little moments of like, yeah, you really do love this. It's cool.
And I appreciate it. And thank you. Because that like, it kind of does validate like, this is all I've ever wanted.
To speak to that skill, like seeing it firsthand, like that's what stood out to me is like you so openly, you're like, I'm really not a car person. I love entertaining people. I love hosting. And you're like, this is going to be certain bits of it is going to be new to me. And I was like, don't worry, I'll do the nerdy car stuff. You bring the vibes and host and do the stuff that I don't know. But then I watched you I watched you research and I watched you like really go in. And by the end of it, you're over here talking about battery charging systems and brakes and dynamics of cars. And I'm like, you like went in. So to show how much you do research and how much you actually use your degree, I'm like, oh, fuck, that's what that is.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. No, I appreciate it. I mean, if you asked me about any of that in this very moment, I'd be like, and we have to like start again.
Yeah.
But I still have all my research. I just refresh. Yeah. But that really is what it is like, because, I want to do a good job. I want to make sure that like, I wanted to make sure I was a solid partner for you. And then there's nothing worse than someone taking the time to come chat and they feel like you didn't do any time.
Like how disrespectful
they came
is
all the way
that
from Germany.
Right? These people,
like this chick just flew in from LA or Utah or wherever the heck I was prior. And like, the filmings and whatnot, like they don't know what I was dealing with prior. So like, it's never, I guess, I don't know. There just was no excuse to not do what I could to be prepared. So like I didn't go out to dinner with the team. I wouldn't I didn't, really explore South by at all. I didn't see any of the other booths or anything.
You were in professional
because I was like up till probably 3 or 4. At one point I was up till 5 in the morning researching and writing and it's funny because seeing the finished notes and everything, they were so short because I didn't want to write too much and be reading it.
Right. Yeah.
So I was like, it looks like I threw this together in about 3 minutes.
And it was like this giant paragraph,
like
consolidated. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's how like, I don't know if you noticed, but there would be certain talking points or like certain, and I mean, we repeated the panels, a couple times a day or something sometimes, or,
Mm-hmm.
details we can remove that.
I like the details.
Yeah. The way that our booth was set up, the way our scheduling was set up, Porsche really allowed us to, kind of get the kinks out of our first talk. And then the next day we would get to do the same talk at the same time.
Yeah, we hit it stride.
And we like really clicked in our, our cadence, our back and forth, our banter, all of that, like really locked in relatively quickly too. I mean, I was very proud and pleased, and I was like, well, that's because he's good. But like,
I needed you so bad.
But then, we were flying. We were there for each other, and I was really,
do you remember?
Really happy.
I feel like we had like a look. Like I feel like you could see it in our eyes. Where
I saw when
you
blacked out.
Sydney, I'm lost. Yeah, like you said it. It's like you black out. It's
and I said, just look at my eyes because you'll see. Like if I'm fighting the glaze or something, it's because I'm retreating, trying to remember what is happening or like what's going on. And like,
we would have the eyes, and we'd be like, "I'm lost. Help me!" And the other one
or
would
like
step
at one point,
in.
We kind of started like. It wasn't like a flick of the wrist or anything, but it was like we would move our microphones in the same way to like cue to the other person. I have something to say now. And so then we had like so much less like crossover or anything or like cutting each other. Cause like, the system it wasn't a permanent setup or anything.
No.
So like, the team was astounding. The sound was amazing, but there's only so much they can do if like I keep cutting you off or something, or, like we keep moving the microphones away from as I jump away from the microphone now. There's so much happening in your brain and everything. And so much that goes on behind the scenes that nobody knows. So yeah, I was always coming in really tired because I was really scared that I was going to look like an idiot and that I was going to make Porsche look bad. Like, why would they hire her?
So you just like took it so seriously.
I told everyone, like everyone was laughing at me because I was like, I have to go do homework. And like, I wasn't even thinking about it. Like, I was just like, no, I have to go do homework. So like, I'll see you guys later. And they're like, homework?
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh shoot. Like,
you know what?
14 again.
It's funny because I did a whole lot of that. And then I had a moment with Thaddeus, and he, after the first one that we did, was like, basically, I'm paraphrasing it, but basically like we went for like a little walk, like to that coffee shop that was across the street. And he was like, you're in what you think a host is mode. And he was like, just be yourself. And as soon as that clicked, matched with our dynamic and the forward research and preparation, that's where I was like, okay, cool, we're good. But my thing that was so crazy was like, I felt the pressure of like, oh, I'm up here with professionals. Like, you're a professional host. You do this. You've done this. Like, I don't have that, right? I have podcasts and I've done a couple like little live podcast things. So I was going on acting as a host. And I'm sure the original first talk people wouldn't have known it, but a close friend like
because I caught the tail end.
Yeah, and Dad was like, don't do that, just be you. And that's when it clicked for me.
Good for Dad.
Yo, right?
Good for him. Because it's funny because that's what my mom always says. She goes, no. We're gonna do this as, Sydney hosting, not what Sydney thinks is a host.
Yeah.
Or Sydney's this character. How would Sydney say this?
Isn't that interesting?
Like, this isn't something you, Sydney, would say, but how would you? Or like, what's something similar? Because with acting and everything, like, I feel like a comment that I'll hear from people all the time about like, you see a movie or something, they're like, oh, he's the same in everything. Oh, she's the same in everything. And like, that can be true, maybe because, I don't know. I don't even want to get into the breakdown of that because I'm not going to have anybody like put in their minds what I think to that end. Yeah. It is true. I'm sure like growing up, I said that about actors too, but then like getting to that point where I'm doing the same thing, yes, there are ways and like there are method actors and like brilliant performers who like you absolutely, it is not the same person at all from one film to the next or one show to the next or what have you. But the most natural, the most believable are saying it in their own voice. You know what I mean? Like whether or not they're changing up the dialect or they're changing up, you know, like there are, I think, was it Eddie Redmayne who played Stephen Hawking? And like the physicality and everything. He was literally, it was the theory of everything.
Wow.
And
he was just in.
And he was in it, and his physicality for like, as he's going through the, you know, the diagnosis, and he's going through the, you know, breakdown of the muscles and everything.
Being,
yes. And it's brilliant. I think when it gets down to like the brass tacks, it's how would you say it? You know, at least like at the core. How would you say it? Let's go from there. Okay. You wouldn't say, or like the person you're playing is a real person. Like, then you're a little more constricted because you have someone that you're trying to portray specifically. But then like someone who's just on a page where you get to, I mean, my boyfriend is a screenwriter. So like I read everything in my voice first, you know? Because these people don't exist yet.
Right.
Like in the world, there's no visual representation of them. You're reading a book. You're reading a story. When you read a book, you read it in your voice.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I could be saying nonsense, but
no.
But that's what,
I do.
you know, that's what I think is like good for Thad, because it also takes getting out of your head and having someone who knows you really well. In my case, it's my mother.
I was just going to say, it sounds like that's what she's been for you.
Oh gosh, yes. Yeah. I mean, and she's just gifted. Like I have this whole campaign. I'm going to make her famous. It's great. Oh yeah. Like I have plans. I have plans for people. But yeah, like, cause she's so good and she's so gifted, and she is, you know, I've said it before, she's one of the finest actors anyone would ever come across. She could blow people out of the water.
Damn.
Like, but she's the most humble. You'll never know. Like, she'll never bring it up to anybody. She never, like, it horrifies her to talk about it. Horrifies her.
Yeah, you've got the plan. He'll make it happen.
I'm shameless. When it's for other people, I don't care.
It's not funny.
I know I'm right. These people are gifted. This person is really good at this. This person's really good at that. Like, they need to be on this platform. So, and I've had so many people look out for me. Like, that's something too, is, you know, I feel like if anybody pulls anything from this, whether you're an actor, a writer, a dancer, you know, YouTuber, musician, what have you, use your resources around you and the people around you. And like, as long as, you know, they know that you're grateful and like, you're literally just trying to learn. It's not that you're asking for favors. You're just trying to learn. That's why, like, when we're chatting, you let me know, like, you gave me so many pointers. You were filling me in on like the guests that you'd already spoken with and everything. I was so grateful for that. And then, you know, I was like, okay, so the only thing that I'll say, you know, because I never assume I know more than anybody else, but knowing that you hadn't hosted necessarily in front of a live audience, even with streamers or something where you can see comments coming in, like, I knew that there were certain things that like were distracting me when I started and distract me now, you know, and it takes you out of it, and you need to click in because you have to be so focused, and that's why your body is tired.
Moment.
I taught you about the blackout moment. Yes.
It's real.
Like, you forget what you said. Like,
it's
was
super
I up there?
real.
And like, but that's the thing, is like, as long as you come at it from a place of gratitude, which I think is something that's so inherent to you, like it's just inherently a part of your being, and it is you know, definitely a place where I make it a point to come from, you know, at any point of my life. If people know you're grateful and you're not trying to take advantage, they're going to be willing to share what they know, you know, and help you.
God, do I believe in that?
Golly, because I have had so many people take me under their wing. So many people take the time to like really be kind. So many people who didn't, but there were so many people who helped me out. So I'm always like, there was somebody who came up, I think her name was America. What's up, America?
Sick name.
Came up at South by and was like, I really want to do what you do. And I was like, well, hit me up on Instagram. I'll talk to you. Like, I don't care. Like, let me know. I need to message her. But but like, and so that's the thing too, not to go off on this huge tangent, but it's just like, you know, this is how I built this for creative.
That's what it is.
You know, there's no one right way, but as long as you come at it from, I think, a place of humility, understanding what you know and what you don't, and always keeping in mind that you can always learn more and know more.
Amen to that.
Right? Like, you're going to be fine.
That's so sick.
Yeah. There are a lot of people. There's that saying that like, you're always like maybe 2 degrees, 3 degrees away from anyone else in the city or the world or what have you. Like from anything you need to know or anyone who might know the thing that you're trying to find out.
Yeah. Especially now with the internet, like game over.
You just reach out and ask.
Yeah, it's crazy. Okay, so then to conclude, what a great, like, I'm so happy that I learned your story more, and it like makes me appreciate all of it that much more. But I mean, we really are at the beginning. Like, it's the first ever feature film, right? Like it's only just starting.
Thank you.
I'm curious to kind of mark this place in time. Right now, what are you looking forward to? What are some of the goals? What do you look forward to say, damn, this would be sick? What do I want next?
I want to.
It's a tricky one, huh?
Yeah, it's so funny because it's a journey, and like I'm so at the point where I'm open to anything, because like for so long I was like, I'm just an actor, I'm just an actor, I'm just an actor. And then I started modeling because like I'm really tall. People can't tell if they're subscribing and watching this because I have zero torso. But I'm quite long, quite tall, and I'm not athletically inclined. So I had to do something with it. It ended up being runway because I can walk most days in a straight line. But I think like just being able to pivot and everything and staying open to that, it's kind of just like whatever comes my way. If it resonates, then great. I think I would love to continue down the hosting path. And so in my mind, I'm kind of starting to manifest like an e-news situation. Like I want to work with Aaron Lim again.
Ooh.
I'm manifesting we're just like putting it out there that I'm up for more and more film auditions, luckily, because my team is incredible. I'm really enjoying the audition process now, which is something that didn't always used to be the thing, because like you hold on to it and you want it so bad.
Yeah.
I mean, looking forward to the things that are coming out that are concrete that I know are coming. I have a couple commercials, like the one that I was filming right before I met you.
Might be seen by a lot of people.
It's looking like it might.
Pretty cool.
They were talking about airing it globally. And then I have another one that'll be national that I just finished up for a hair product.
Dang.
So, my face will be out there in a few ways. But yeah, I think I'm also, because we were talking about this before we started taping.
Yeah.
Just that like with everything being so incredible, and like I feel so fortunate, but you and I have like not felt like we got to catch up on the work and on everything, because we were literally like travel, work.
So
no
nonstop.
Downtime in between, no time to reset. And then, I'm still catching up on correspondence from a couple weeks ago. This is not my normal, but things happen. What can you do? So I think I'm just going to kind of, if now is the time to take a breath, I'll accept it and I'll embrace it.
Yeah.
And then if something else comes up, then I'm ready to go for that too. Cause like, that's the thing, is just be ready to say yes. So
damn, you've had some heaters in this one. There's some couple clips.
Thank you.
Damn. Well, thank you so much for doing this.
Oh,
this was so fun.
So much for having me. I legitimately think you are one of the coolest people I've ever come across. My whole family and my boyfriend know who you are. So like they all want to meet you and hang out.
Yo, like I'm saying, like I genuinely feel like I made a friend. Like it was so cool.
You didn't know you were going to be stuck with me, and I'm sorry.
No, but I'm in. I'm in. You're stuck with me.
No, I'm so happy, and I'm very like, how many more times can I say I'm grateful, I'm thankful, I'm this, I'm that? But like really, I think that you are such an interesting human. What you do, the way that you highlight talent, the way that you give somebody the opportunity to really talk about how they started. You were like, I didn't know your story. Like, I'm so excited. And I was like, shoot, do I know my story? Like,
weird,
I haven't gotten to sit and like reflect on where I've come from, or like how far I've come.
Yeah.
And that's a gift. So thank you for that.
You're so welcome.
It's like really surreal.
It's very, I hope and I think it is mutually beneficial all around, because selfishly, I love to hear the stories, but I genuinely think that by people like yourself sharing the blueprint and the current up to date, here's how I got to here, I would hope that it inspires and encourages people to continue on their paths. So hopefully everybody wins.
Oh my gosh.
And selfishly, I just get to vibe and hear a story for an hour with my friends.
I mean, thank you. Geez, I probably held you hostage for more like 2, but
But like, that's my favorite thing. Like, I like, as the host, like, I just like to chill and hear stories and all that. So thank you for being engaging and sharing so well. It was awesome.
Hey, you're a great host. Podcasts, live shows. What's next, Andrew? I can't wait to see.
Let's go. Let's just do a traveling circuit of a Porsche activation together.
Absolutely. I'm ready. We were invited to Germany.
That's true.
Let's go.
That's next.
But if anybody is ever interested in chatting, or if they ever want to start, the acting, the hosting, the modeling, or, I also do writing and production and things like that. So y'all can come hang out with me at I Am Sydney Hamm on literally every platform.
Cool.
It's, again, at I Am Sydney Hamm. It rhymes.
No, that's awesome. And I'm glad you said that, because I think that if anybody is here at the end of this and they related to your story or they have questions, I love it when guests are willing to help out and to talk to anybody. So you heard it. Please hit her up. I love hearing from listeners. I love hearing when episodes hit and when they helped. So please let us both know if that helped.
Please do. And go check out Swim Instructor Nightmare, if you would, on Lifetime.
Yeah,
Hulu,
that's the movie. We went all
Amazon
this way
Prime.
and didn't say it. Swim Instructor Nightmare.
Swim Instructor Nightmare. I always forget. I'm just like, because, it's like it was my baby for like a hot second, but then like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I gotta be real with you. I still have to watch it. I haven't watched it.
I appreciate you wanting, but you're a busy man.
but also check me out. Like I only want to do so much research before doing a podcast, because if I think somebody's like too famous or like too poppin', I'll get like nervous.
Yeah.
So like, I want to know you as my friend, and then I can like watch it and be like, oh shit, that's my friend.
That is so funny. Famous, not by any means.
I'm just saying.
If anything, I might get famous because of this episode here. So thank you.
That would
all the Andrew fans.
We're not quite there yet, but one would hope. All right.
Nah, see, I'm making the call now too.
Let's go.
I'm making the call.
I'll take it.
I know these things.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
So there you have it, Sydney Hamm's episode. I hope you liked that one. I certainly did. It was so fun to host an event with her at South by Southwest, and the vibe that we had was just something real special. So I thought it would make for a good podcast, and I genuinely didn't know that much about her story. And I also really don't know what it takes to become an actress. So hearing her explain that and break it down the way that she did was wild to me. Like she said at the end, if there's anything that you're interested in, or if there's anything that she could help you or give you advice with, hit her up. She's more than down, and she's a super kind, genuine, helpful person. Also, hit me up if you like the podcast. I love to hear from you. I love to hear suggestions of guests, and to see that the podcast is helping and inspiring people is really cool. With that said, if you want to help me get the word out even further, please share this with a friend anywhere. Text it to them, post it on social media. Anything but word of mouth in general is so genuinely helpful for the podcast, helps it grow and get discovered and let me talk to new rad people. So it genuinely means so much, and it's something that you can do totally for free. Outside of that, if you do want to go above and beyond, you can support the podcast on Patreon. That's patreon.com/whereareallmyfriends. Or you can just subscribe wherever you listen, write a review, leave 5 stars. Even now on Spotify, you can leave 5 stars. That helps. All of these things all just help it get discovered and help me keep doing it. And I really want to keep doing it. So anything is appreciated. As always, thank you for listening. I'll be back next week with another episode.